What's up guys, I saw X-Men Apocalypse the other day and I really liked it, and this is my review and stuff. Why is this so fucking contrived? So X-Men Apocalypse is directed by Bryan Singer, who's directed like 4 other X-Men films, 3 other... So X-Men Apocalypse is the 8th X-Men film, and it's directed by Bryan Singer and stars the sort of new rebooted cast of X-Men. And basically what happens in this film is Apocalypse, this big, awesome, powerful mutant, comes back after sleeping for thousands of years and is coming to destroy the world, and the X-Men have to stop him, of course. I like pretty much all the X-Men films except Origins. That one was a bit shit. And I like the ones directed by Bryan Singer the most. I'd say either the first X-Men film or Days of Future Past are probably my favourite ones. It was interesting going into this film because it was rated really quite low on Rotten Tomatoes. I think at like 48% when I went to go see it. Not the first time that's happened. I usually check Rotten Tomatoes before I see any film, just because I want to know if I'm spending my money wisely. But I went to see the film regardless, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I honestly love this film. I thought it was really, really good. To be honest, I kind of enjoyed it more than Civil War in many ways. And I also really like that film. That being said, this film is flooded with problems, and I'll go through some of them straight away. I want to talk about the villains first of all, because I find the villains sort of hilarious in this film. So we'll start off with Apocalypse. The most basic villain you can do is like really flat characterization. They're just evil for the sake of evil. That's what Apocalypse is in this film. That being said, it can be done well. For example, like the Emperor from Star Wars or Sauron. Like, they're just evil for the sake of being evil, but, you know, they're at least menacing. You know, you feel like they're a danger. And I think that Apocalypse, you know, does that in this film. Oscar Isaac, who is an actor I love pretty much all his films. Star Wars, Drive, Ex Machina, Inside Llewyn Davis. You know, who's a really good actor. Doesn't really get to show his acting chops in this film. But, you know, he does well with what he has to do, and Apocalypse was menacing for me. And then we get to the 4 Horsemen. The effort of characterization goes down with each one. Like, Magneto is fucking phenomenal. Like, he's got the best backstory. Like, he makes every X-Men film amazing, I think. Like, he's the best part of any X-Men film. His character was really well developed, and it was great. And then Storm was pretty well developed. You know, you could see sort of her, like, backstory kind of thing taking shape, and, you know, it was done pretty well, and the actress was really good, I thought. And then they had, like, the Angel guy, and it looked like they were trying to give him a character. You see him, like, he was in the fighting pits, and then you see him, like, drinking, and then they sort of, like, leave it be. And then the last one, I don't know her name, like Pink Sexy Lady. Like, I don't think they actually even said her character's name. I don't think she actually said a word in the entire film, now that I think about it. But yeah, like, there's a hilarious scene where, like, so Apocalypse is recruiting his horsemen, and then he goes to her, and she's, like, threatens him with her, like, pink sword, whatever, and he's like, I can unleash your true power. And then her, like, pink sword goes up, like, 2 brightness levels on Photoshop. And, like, I laughed at that point. I was like, really? Is that, like, the extent of her power? So yeah, like, the 4 Horsemen, it was just, like, less effort went into each one. I mean, I'm pretty sure that, like, the Pink Lady's meant to be, like, a fan favourite or something. So I don't think they gave her much justice. Like, she really did nothing in the film. The thing with this film is, like, there was no real... There wasn't, for me anyway, like, many, like, glaring problems which, you know, just annoyed my enjoyment of the film kind of thing. Like, I enjoyed the film thoroughly throughout, and I was never bored. Like, I didn't even realise it was 2.5 hours. Like, some people said the film felt really long. It didn't for me. Like, this film flew by. It felt like 90 minutes or so to me. But whenever the film was bad, it was only, like, for a brief moment. It was kind of like, you know, you have a quick awesome moment, then a quick dumb moment, then awesome, dumb, that kind of thing. I think most of the annoying things for me were just, like, some of the dialogue in the film. I don't think the dialogue was that well written. For example, there's a scene which is put in this film purely for one reason. They make a joke about how the third one's always the worst, but, like, it ends up feeling like they're talking about their own film. And I feel like, did they not have confidence in this film or something? I don't know. Okay, let's actually talk about things I liked in this film. The film starts off really slow, but it's a slow build-up, and I feel like the film gets better as it goes along. Like, we sort of get introduced to characters, then like build up their stories and stuff. I mean, like I said before, Magneto, like, easily the best part in this film. And, you know, we see a lot of stuff from him. I won't dare spoil any of it, but he has the best scene in the film, best character, like, really awesome scene that happens in this film. And yeah, like, his entire, like, character conflict, you know, the discussions with him and Xavier are always, like, the best part of the X-Men films, and it's no different here. The action and the special effects are all done really well. The Quicksilver scene, there's another one of them in this film, and yeah, it's really good. It's like a big sort of tonal shift, because like kind of similar to what they did in Days of Future Past, where like, you know, characters are about to like die or whatever, so you know, it's like a really horrific thing that's about to happen, and then the tone shifts when Quicksilver's going around like, you know, doing his thing. I won't spoil the scene. To be honest, now I'm like doing this review, like, I did love the film, like, honestly, but like, I'm thinking of problems instead of good things. There are problems in this film. I'll say that the end of this film, like the big finale, is like a huge, big, action-packed finale, which I don't feel like the X-Men films have ever really done. Like, they've always been like more character-focused, and there is certainly still character focus here. The end of this film is like lots of CGI, lots of action, explosions, and yeah, it can be a bit like, you know, but you know, not as bad as Batman Dawn of Justice, whatever it was called. The thing I did really like in this film was the characters and the way the actors portrayed them. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, I was really worried about because, well, Game of Thrones actors that end up going on films end up making, you know, slop like this. Yeah, so I was worried, and especially after I saw the film Predestination with Sarah Snook. As soon as that film finished, I was like, please make her Jean Grey. And then they cast Sophie Turner, and I was like, I don't know. But after seeing this film, I thought Sophie Turner was really good, and she did a good portrayal of Jean Grey, and her characterization was really good in this film, as well as the guy who played Cyclops. He was really good as well. Something that surprised me in this film was the sort of the continuation of the timeline was done pretty well in terms of like where characters go in the future, like Jean Grey and Cyclops' relationship and stuff like that. I thought that was done pretty well. On the other hand, some of the other timeline stuff didn't really work. There's a scene in this film which was put in there purely for one reason, and that is to make fun of X-Men 3. And I thought of this good idea, right? There's an X-Men comic book storyline called Days of Future Past you might have heard of, and like there's, you know, time travel and stuff, and they could like work that into a script where it like gets rid of the events that happen in X-Men 3 The Last Stand. You know, that'd be a good way to make fun of that film. Like, do they really need to like mock that film anymore? I don't know, that scene in this film like was a bit weird for me. The acting from everyone was really good in this film. Like, I heard some people say that like Jennifer Lawrence looked like she didn't want to be there and stuff in the film. Like, I didn't see that, and I think that's like way too much for people to judge, you know, based on a film. But like, I mean, to be honest, this annoyed me in X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past. Like, why Jennifer Lawrence kept using the Jennifer Lawrence face instead of the Mystique face. You know, in the original X-Men trilogy, I don't think Mystique ever showed her real face, whatever that was, at all. Like, again, with the final finale in this film, it's really big, action heavy, and I'll say it takes place in like a main city, and it feels a bit Man of Steel-y to me, in the sense that there's a lot of destruction going on, and we never see like any humans anywhere. And like, I've been to this particular city, and there's people everywhere. Like, it's, yeah, well, that kind of annoyed me a little bit. Okay, rambling on a bit now. So, I really enjoyed this film, and I feel like it is a bit underrated in the critic side of things, but then it's not a perfect film either. I'd say if you're a big fan of X-Men, you'll probably like this film. I don't know, go judge for yourselves, you don't have to go see it, it's your money. I really enjoyed this film, not a perfect film. I'd say about a 7 out of 10, same score I gave Civil War. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Thanks very, very much for watching, and see you later.